Planetary Dynamics, writings by Sarah Kalvin. Astrological Aspects, featured horoscope, Wal Thornhill, The Electric Universe. Ancient civilizations observed the night skies with wonderment on a nightly basis. They had no distractions from the starry vault, by city lights, television, cell phones, computers and other digital devices, and so they dedicated their time to a comprehensive understanding of the movements of the stars, planets, and other heavenly phenomena. Observatories were common in their cultural centers, and remnants of them remain as evidence of their use of highly sophisticated celestial calculations. El Caracol, the crumbling observatory tower, at Chichen Itza in Mexico, reaches far above the trees of the Yucatan jungle, making it the means by which ancient Mayan astronomers viewed the 360 degrees of the sky, to track solstices, equinoxes, and eclipses, and specifically the orbit of Venus. They recorded their findings in books made of bark, although most were destroyed during the European conquest in the first millennia. The Dresden Codex, one of the remaining 4 Maya books that were not destroyed, tells of the 26,000-year precession cycle, using the long count calendar. There is no doubt that the observation of the skies dominated the minds of the Maya during their classical period. The priests and noble classes of past Mayan cultures used their noted astronomical activity as a means of dominance over the lives of the masses they ruled. The predictable synchronicity between activities on Earth, as they correspond to celestial conditions and planetary cycles, gave the astrologer priests knowledge of when to plan coming events. This manipulation of information was used to prove to their subjects that they had power over daily life experience. They assigned the planets with godlike attributes, based on their long-time observations of its effects on nature and humanity. Since astrology developed over a vast period of time, it became known as an empirical science. The astrological calculations, used to determine the time of a connection between celestial bodies in the solar system, with their potential to affect human experience, is called an aspect. Astrological aspects are defined by the geometric configurations between the positions of the 10 planets, Sun and Moon included, as they interrelate with each other in their cyclical orbits. The planets are viewed from a geodesic perspective, because our experience is Earth-centered. The 5 primary geometric relationships are called major aspects. They form the connections of planetary influence, in terms of the conjunction at 0 degrees separation, the sextile at 60 degrees, the square at 90, the trine at 120, and the opposition at 180 degrees apart, in the circle of the signs of the year. The planets traverse what is commonly known as 12 zodiacal signs, that are defined by the backdrop of the constellations in the belt of the ecliptic. Because of the precession of the equinox, a more appropriate term to describe the division of the 360-degree ecliptic into 12 segments, is signs of the year. There is a 10-degree allowance of orb with the planets, 12.5 with the Moon, and a 17-degree allowance for the Sun. A sextile, for example, can also be active when planets are up to 70 degrees of separation. There are also a myriad of minor aspects that become pertinent when a chart reading suggests an examination of the more subtle personal capacities. The chart to be interpreted is that of physicist Wal Thornhill, one of the founders of the Thunderbolts project. The project proposes that we live in an electric universe, and it is fully explained on their YouTube channel. Lines are drawn in the chart to show connections between planets in major aspect. Defined by the division of the circle by numbers, they signify the dynamic connections of charged energy fields, latent between the masses of the individual planets. These geometric relationships describe the unique characteristics of the individual, or group entity, that a chart represents. It is not numbers or math that endow the planets with power to influence our lives, it is the electrical activity, between the planets, that empowers them. In turn, they guide our experiences through their connection with our personal horoscopic potentials. The planetary forces exert their objectives, through temporary transits, and developmental progressions, calculated from an astronomical ephemeris. In the YouTube video, Symbols of an Alien Sky, Wal Thornhill states, in an electric solar system, if two planets or moons approach each other from regions of different potential, an electric discharge will occur, producing plasma formations stretching between the approaching bodies. In the video, An Electric Cosmology for the 21st Century, Wal Thornhill explains, the solar system has currents flowing through it, and there are currents flowing between planets at certain times. The diagram shows Venus in an inferior conjunction alignment, with the Sun and Earth. There is a visual energy trail from Venus, caused by the Sun. This effect was photographed by the SOHO spacecraft. Innate within these plasma formations, is the spark of intelligence of life and consciousness. Circled in green, are two planets in Thornhill's horoscope, that were in extremely close contact at the hour of his birth. Thornhill's exact time of birth is not known to this astrologer, but there is no doubt that the relatively slow-orbiting planets, Saturn and Uranus, were making this very tight conjunction aspect on May 2, 1942. Although not in the same declination, the close proximity of these two planets exemplifies in Thornhill's chart itself, the circumstance necessary, that he explained in his video, for an exchange of a planetary electrical charge. A 3-minute separation of arc between these planets makes this an extraordinary combination of energies and intelligence, to be made useful in the life of the native. This coupling is also positioned in a special zodiacal location in the heavens, known as the Pleiades. They are a group of stars also known as the Weeping Sisters, or the Seven Sisters. This star group is known to be in one of the nearest constellations to Earth, and many cultures from ancient times to the present, have developed a belief in its profound and sometimes ominous effects on humankind. As well, these stars are believed to bring great wisdom and knowledge, to anyone born under its influence. And legend states, they are believed to be the source of knowledge channeled from several non-corporeal entities. Regardless of myths and cults associated with 29 degrees Taurus, the conjunction aspect in Thornhill's chart endows him with a potential for an exceptional intellect, thanks to Saturn's depth of understanding, coupled with Uranian higher conscious brilliance. Alice Bailey confirms Thornhill's thesis of an electrical universe, as it relates to his all-important tight conjunction in the Pleiades. In a treatise on cosmic fire, she states, the Pleiades are to the solar system, the source of electrical energy. Saturn and Uranus, are normally diametrically opposed in their characteristic effects. Saturn acts on one's conscience, to promote sensitivity to conservative moral compliance, and respect for authority, be it to parent, teacher, employer or general cultural pressures. Uranus, contrariwise, points to rejection of traditional constraints over the minds of pioneers seeking a more appropriate paradigm for modern times. Both of these planetary meanings work hand in hand in Thornhill's horoscope, and thus manifest together to create an unusual self-expression of ideas. In his work, Thornhill continuously compares the findings of traditional science with his own unique understanding of the electric universe. Saturn transits and progressions to natal planets give opportunities for any individual to conform to accepted social standards. If guilt is felt for wrongdoing, a subsequent period of regret and repentance is required to assuage conscience. It is the opposite in regards to the trailblazer Uranus. Known as the Promethean impulse, it has the capacity to break free of the common restraints and boundaries Saturn puts forth. It lays new ground and feels justified and responsible for charting new concepts and paradigms. In Thornhill's chart, these two energies, the one more practical, and the other etheric, seem to work well together in his maturity, once his preliminary life path had been made. What may have been a constant internal ambivalence when not disciplined, now has become Saturn's steadying focus on the iconoclastic counter-approach Thornhill has developed. The birthright and potentials of the Saturn-Uranus conjunction includes a generation of individuals born during the same year as Thornhill. This slow-moving duo lasted throughout the entire year of 1942 and beyond. But what makes this conjunction so significant for Thornhill is its exactitude of aspect and relationship with several other supporting planets at the time of his birth. It is beyond the scope of this interpretation to give an in-depth analysis of the chart under interpretation, but keywords offer a keyhole view into meaning. The Saturn-Uranus conjunction's potentials can be further understood through an examination of their keyword definitions. Saturn's keyword is sensitiveness, and Uranus has the keyword independence. Thornhill broke away from established academia because of an overriding dedication and sensitiveness to the facts he was able to uncover in his pioneering approach to physics and astronomy. Uranus's keyword, when in high focus and prominent in a horoscope, takes on the more fascinating keyword, experimentative. Thornhill relies on laboratory experimentation to explain and to validate observations of outer space. Mercury is conjunct Saturn and Uranus, and adds its meaning to the pair, with the keyword inquisitive. This is indicative of Thornhill's probing and penetrating mentality, which is another of Mercury's keywords. The Sun is also conjunct the others in Taurus, and with that, creates a stellium of sign. The four together amplify the meaning of Taurus, which being an earth sign, is representative of the physical properties of the cosmos. The Sun's keyword is purpose, and its position is exactly 17 degrees from Saturn and Uranus, making a conjunction with the two at its widest allowable distance. A stellium is a focal determinator, which is a planetary configuration, pointing to an important feature of the natal chart. It is a multiple conjunction in house or sign, and creates tremendous energy in a specific area of the life of any native, but especially in the chart of Wal Thornhill. It would be interesting to know the exact placement of his moon degree, and how it might enter into the chart's dynamics, but that is only possible when the exact time of birth is known. Venus is in sextile to the triple conjunction of Mercury, Saturn, and Uranus, and contributes to the multiple sextiles in Thornhill's chart. The sextile is a division of the circle by 6, which denotes in astrology an ease in connecting with people, and receiving their support and assistance. Venus's benefic effects add appreciation to the already stacked potentials for rewarding experience via the multiple sextiles. The chart's challenging stresses come from the opposition of Venus to Neptune. However, this polarization gives rise to another focal determinator of importance. It is the planet Jupiter, in a symmetrical square to both Neptune and Venus in opposition. Together, this 90-degree angle, to the 180-degree opposition, is called a T-cross, because it forms the letter T, whether it is on its side or even upside down. The planet that creates the stem of the T is considered a focal determinator, and is called point focus. The point focus planet becomes the facilitator and outlet for the more static opposition. It is the point through which the energy intelligence flows and expresses its potential release. For Thornhill, Jupiter becomes a powerful beneficent force, as it is sparked and energized by the electrical charges it receives from the planets in the polarizing opposition. Point focus Jupiter's keyword is paternal, revealing the protective and nurturing nature of the native. His challenge to generations of scientists, bogged down in outdated cosmologies, helps promote his hypothesis of the more realistic electric universe. Thornhill wishes to spread the truth of the electric universe, and with the help of his paternal point focus Jupiter, he does so by adopting those underlings, whom he deems worthy of his enlightened message.